these are two Southern California natives, big-time Magic players in the area. Alex is another Orange County player, plays mostly, I know him at least mostly through playing Majestics, the same Costa Mesa store that I associate Jake Corey with.
Okay. So we come into a game, there's a lot of lands. Looks like there's a counterbalance being put on the stack. So there's a Force of Will removing a Daze. I'm not sure exactly what game we're in. It feels like we are in, seems like we're
I think it's
in
game two.
Yeah.
Joe has a Pyroblast in his hand, so probably not game one. So it looks like we're going to be fighting over this counterbalance.
I'm ready for a battle. Are you?
Yeah, I'm ready to fight.
You don't get to see counterbalance do great stuff anymore. It's funny too, because Joe, there's a Pyroblast there. Joe hasn't moved away from this deck in like a calendar year.
No.
And there's a Source of Plowshares to take care of the Germ Token on Batterskull. He hasn't moved at all. He's just like, I'm doing this. No one's stopping me from doing this with my ugly white lands, my white basics.
He loves the revised basics.
He does. I know he does. Nothing has ever swayed him from playing this deck, as Gellerman is up game one here. And treat the Angels on the top of the deck here. We might be moving on to a game number 3 here in just a moment.
It's about to be a miracle, I think.
There's a Terminus there too. There are a couple miracles. Oh boy.
A lot of action.
Draws a Terminus for the turn. So yeah, he had 3 miracles on top from that top activation. Return Batterskull. Okay. Gellerman going to draw his card for the turn. Looks to be a Ponder to go along with a Force of Will. Some other stuff. Ask Lossett, how many cards do you have in your hand before I try to deploy this Batterskull? All right. Is this okay? Treat the Angels casting cost is white, 3, correct?
That's a great
Or
question.
white, X.
Yeah.
XX.
XX, yes.
Yeah,
Double
white, XX, okay. So here is a Sensei Divine top activation. I'm going to turn over and treat the Angels. I'd like to miracle it if it's okay with you. This effect on the stack, resolve it. Yeah, and there is Treat the Angels. Now there's a Force we're removing that Ponder that was drawn for the turn. Timely.
So Alex basically just down to this Batterskull or bust here. Joe setting up the lock, but just needs to find some sort of answer to this Batterskull.
All right, so there's a top. And don't forget, Joe's top card right now is a Terminus. Now he may rearrange that, and he can certainly shuffle away with a fetch land, but we know his top card right now is Terminus. And one thing here for Joe, because Joe obviously plays this deck a lot. I'm playing it for a year, maybe even more than that. He gets very close to draws.
Yeah.
But he doesn't get a lot of them. And he's able to speed things up when he needs to. Now, he has a down a game against the Red Delver deck, and I don't want to say his back's against the wall because he's starting to establish control here, but he's got to pick it up a little bit.
Yes. No, we talked about this a lot yesterday when we had some Esper matches on camera, and playing these control decks in the allotted time is such a huge part of the skill set of being able to play these decks in a tournament setting. Like you said, Joe, he's able to skate the line. I would not describe him as the world's fastest player, but he's definitely not slow enough where he's regularly receiving draws.
Yeah. So a Brainstorm, he spends a top, draws a card. Now he Brainstorms, so he actually gets to see like one new card by doing this. If you ever wonder why I'll never cast Brainstorm and Sensei Divine top, that's the reason why. As now he's going to draw a card with top, and here we go. Terminus, Miracle Style, Batterskull token, bye-bye. The Gellerman does have a hand, even though he did just draw a Geist of Saint Traff. Not a bad draw at all. So that's going to come into play. We know the top card of the deck for counterbalance is Sensei's Divine top, so no sense in revealing. As Joe's going to untap and draw that top.
Joe has access to an Engineered Explosives, which can handle the Geist through his Volcanic.
This is true. He can set that up 4-3. Crocus, oddly enough, cannot take care of that legendary permanent.
Very, very few things can.
Yeah, touche. He does have a Supreme Verdict in the grip, too. Don't know if he's willing to trade Supreme Verdict for that guy straight up. Don't think it'd be the worst trade in the world, but not sure if that's the avenue he wants to go. All right, the answer is yes. Pass the turn back. Is he ever going to break this fetch? His Batterskull's return here for Gellerman. He's going to untap so he can deploy the equipment again, which is what he's going to do, it looks like, and he does. Batterskull question mark. Thumbs up. There's your Germ token. Lossett passes the turn back. Top on upkeep. Terminus. Top. Delta.
Another Terminus.
All right, get that out of here.
Joe just trying to buy himself enough time to find a more permanent solution to this batter skull.
Yeah.
Whether it's finding his own 5 to put on top.
Jace, the Mind Sculptor, has shown up now.
Also an excellent way of
not too bad.
leveraging an advantage from here.
And Gellerman's going to pass the turn back. And now the window might close here. Joe's going to check one more time. He's going to reorganize that so the top's on top, delta's on the bottom. Draws his card. Going to deploy Jace. So, the best planeswalker in Magic history going to come into play.
I would agree with that assessment.
I know there are some people out there that think it's Nissa Ravine, but I don't agree with them.
I would disagree with that assessment.
Okay.
I think you can make an argument that Elspeth is close.
Which one?
Original.
Okay. The Knight Errant.
Yeah. It's playing on the same professional level, but it's not. I would say it's not as powerful.
I really think that Sark and Vol is underrated.
I think it's Tibalt. Facilitates reanimator strategies. The ultimate, very powerful.
Just hasn't found a home yet.
Just hasn't found a home yet.
That's Batter Skull will be recast again. Joe is going to say counterbalance on the stack. Let's start by sacrificing a Flooded Strand. I'll push myself down to 17.
This gives him an opportunity to look at 3 new fresh ones and try to find a 5 to finally end this Batter Skull.
Yeah. And if he ends the Batter Skull, it probably ends the game.
Yeah.
So he says, I'm going to spin the top here.
Alex is barely keeping his head above water as it stands.
Yeah. Hit 1, 2, and 3. It looks like counterbalance, and explosives. So that's fine, says Lossett. Sacrifice this Arid Mesa, Will Gellerman. And hey, don't forget, tick-tock goes that clock.
Yep.
It's very, very real right now. And picking up a draw, not ideal. About as good as a loss, or at least close to it.
Yeah, especially since you're going to be playing against other decks that have received a draw, which increases the odds that you receive a draw yet again.
Stoneforge Mystic gets placed onto the stack. Do we care about that? That's going to resolve. Probably Umazawa's Jite? Sword of Feast and Famine. Okay.
Sure.
That does stuff and things.
If Alex is ever actually able to get it onto a creature that can attack, which is certainly no given.
So Jace, get that Germ token out of here. I've already got an engine online where I can take a look at enough cards. I don't need to brainstorm with this. Gellerman going to untap all of those lands. Going to draw a card. Has a Wasteland. Going to take care of a Volcanic Island. Going to try to maybe chop down those blue sources a little bit here. 5 mana. Going to equip Batterskull into the Stoneforge Mystic. Lossett takes a look at his hand. You have to imagine it's something that he saw coming. Attack the Jace. What do we have here? This is Venstar? Jeez.
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 Oh, Joe.
Yep.
This is not the first time we've seen that Venser put to really good effect.
No, but it's good. Like every time it's cast.
Yeah, Venser Caracas. Just Joe back in his wheelhouse.
So Venser's going to bounce the Batterskull. He blocks the Stoneforge Mystic. He's got Caracas to protect it. And now Venser can get on the offensive. In for 2 comes Joe. A confident attack with that Venser. Take that. And now he's got Jason play too. And now he's getting... The water is rising.
Oh, yeah. It's Fate Seal time.
Yeah. The water is rising on this game. Joe's got to clean it up. I feel like, you know, if you're looking at the clock, it's got to end by about 12. Yeah. I feel like it's got to end by 12, and then, you know, you got to start game 3 with about 10 left. Here is a Batterskull by Gellerman. I think Lossett probably says that's fine.
As he has Caracas Venser going. So
yeah.
Yes.
Gonna spin top first, hit 1, 2, and 3. Balance explosives and a mystery card there. I think it might be a Vendilion.
Click.
Yeah, and it is Vendilion. So he's got a 0, a 2, and a 3. He's going to untap here. Take a draw step. Looks like he's probably just going to bounce that. Yeah, bounce, keep attacking. Again, I think he's pretty happy with his setup on top of his deck. He doesn't need to brainstorm with Jace. Doesn't really care that much about Fate Sealing, especially when there's a fetch land in play.
Yeah, Joe's got, you know, we're going to see a Vendilion click here at the end of the turn.
Also, nice, really up the pressure now.
Also a combo with Caracas.
Yeah. Let me see the hand of Day, Spell Pierce, Sword of Feast and Famine, and a Lightning Bolt. A lot of those cards are going to get countered by Counterbalance plus top. So I think, you know, for most of those cards are pretty relevant. And Joe says you can keep all of those. I'm going to spin my top really quick here. Got to Counterbalance at Explosives, and then that next card I think might be Vendilion again. So Joe's going to draw explosives for the turn, attack for 5, put Gellerman down to 5. Jace, what do you want to do?
Thinking about Brainstorm versus Fate Sealing?
Yeah.
I like a Fate Seal.
I like a Fate Seal too. Not quite sure what that top card is, but Joe says that doesn't matter to me. So that's going to cause a fetch from Gellerman. Going to put him down to 4. He's just going to shuffle. That's the old search fail to find there.
Yeah. Perhaps out of lands.
Decent chance that. It's got a lot of lands in play for this Delver deck.
4 Tundra, 3 Volcanics.
Yeah.
Yep.
And he's going to concede the game. So game number 2 goes to Joe Lossett. And so we're moving on to a third and final one between Blue-White-Red Delver versus Blue-White. Little touch of red. Miracles. Go to the sideboard.
Yes.
You've got Gellerman's in front of you. So let's take a look at that one first.
He has access to a Vendilion Click. He has access to a Red Blast. He has 2 copies of Meddling Mage. And then a bunch of singletons I'm not too excited about here. He has 2 Flusterstorms, a Force of Will, a Grim Lavamancer, 3 Rest in Peace, a Sword of Feast and Famine, which we saw in that game, Wear Tear, Engineered Explosives. So he has access to a Click, the Meddling Mages, which I like, and the Red Blast. And if he wants a little bit of additional pressure, I could see bringing in the Lavamancer as well.
Okay. Lossett sideboard, Engineered Explosives, Terminus, Pithing Needle, then Treat the Angels, a Venture Shaper Savannah, Flusterstorm, a Pyroblast, and a bunch of 2-ofs, and Red Elemental Blast, Misdirection, Rest in Peace, and Wear Tear. We saw
he cut the Baneslayer from his sideboard.
Yeah, it's finally gone.
Baneslayer killed me with one of these open here last year.
Yeah, you're not the only one, buddy.
Come on,
You're
Joe.
not the only one. He's got the Engineered Explosives we saw come in. Not sure how many Terminus he has after sideboard.
I would imagine quite a few. Guys are saying traps is a huge issue for this deck, so the more sweepers you have, the better.
And we know that he has 1 Venture in his main deck and he has the additional one in the sideboard. Wouldn't be surprised to see both in after board.
Yep.
Then we know that he brought in at least a Red Elemental Blast. Not sure how many of those effects that he does have between 2 Rebs and a Pyroblast. So he can certainly mess around here a little bit. And he's got a bunch of 1-ofs in his main deck too that he can board out. So should be fun to see his composition after sideboard.
Yeah, the Miracles deck has a lot of room for configuration and customization in these post-board games. A lot of 1s and 2s, and a ton of search with Brainstorm and other cantrips, Sensei's Divining Top. So you have a lot of room for something approaching a 15 1-of sideboard if you want to go down that road.
I missed the Baneslayer Angels on the board.
Yeah, no, it was charming.
Yeah.
I wasn't even mad when I lost. I was just like, all right, man.
It's like a really good way to please people who don't expect it coming. Because there's a lot of games watching him on coverage, or just watching him when I'm actually at a tournament, where it's just like he's kind of behind the clock a little bit, and he's just like, yeah, Certified Baneslayer, and the opponent's just like, jeez, come on. I was trying to get a draw out of this. He's like, I don't think so. All right, Gellerman's going to keep. He's going to start off with Gataxian Probe, so we got a counterbalance. So we've got a Sensei's Divine Top, Red Elemental Blast, and a Venser to go along with a Flooded Strand, an Island, and a Tundra.
That is an excellent hand for Joe, assuming he doesn't fall too far behind in the initial game.
I agree.
A lot of removal, top counterbalance, very powerful against Gellerman's deck full of cheap spells. The issue is just too much harm going to be done in the first couple of turns.
Well, it shows out the power of Gataxian Probe too, and Legacy, a card that's really starting to make its way through a lot of decks. Here's a Ponder from Gellerman, because now he knows that he needs to speed up.
Yep.
He's like, I need to deploy threats before top plus counterbalance come in, and I need to worry about that Elemental Blast as well.
Also, Gataxian Probe plus Meddling Mage is as sweet as it gets.
Yeah, sweeter than Yoo-Hoo.
Yeah. That's some sugar.
Yeah. So there's a basic island. Want to dodge that wasteland? Sensei's Divine Top, question mark, daze it is. Now that's kind of annoying if you're Lossett, but at the same time, now you're ahead on lands.
Yeah, you're happy, certainly you'd rather have the top than not, but you also have to be pretty happy with not being being under any pressure.
Yeah. He's not going to play a Flooded Strand, and he's going to pass the turn back. Now, one thing you have to be cognizant of against a Delver strategy like this is Stifle and how many. I know you got the deck list in front of you. Any Stifles hanging out over there?
There are 0.
Okay. And we are in game 3, so you don't know. Obviously he hasn't seen Stifle yet, but Blue-White-Red Delver, some lists do actually have Stifle in them.
Yes. I'm not a huge Stifle fan myself.
No, I'm not either. I get it and stuff, but I'm not like the biggest fan.
I understand they're entirely different cards, but I just want to get some of the Gataxian Probes in these decks.
Yeah.
Gataxian Probe Meddling Mages. I just can't even get over it.
Tundra, how's the counterbalance? And counterbalance is going to meet Force of Will removing Brainstorm.
So let's see if this induces the red blast from Joe.
It's time for a fight, I think.
There might be some concern on his part that he's walking into another daze, but
he says that's fine. Okay. So, Gellerman going to play a Wasteland, take care of that Tundra. Pass Sternback, threatening Stoneforge Mystic. Lossett draws his card. Pretty timely.
Source of Plowshare is a big draw here because otherwise that sword was about to go online.
Blue to Delta. Going to get sacrificed right now. Going to get an activation here. I wonder what he's going to put into play. Is it going to be Sword or Batterskull? Okay, it's going to be Batterskull. So can I resolve the Blue to Delta? Yes, you can.
And that Batterskull is pretty bad for Joe here, as now it necessitates multiple removal spells to keep Feast and Famine from coming online.
Gonna search for a basic here. You see him search for a basic with the island, or with the Blue to Delta, get an island, and I suspect he'll search for a basic Plains with the Flooded Strand. He's going to deploy Counterbalance, which is going to resolve. So Set's going to draw his, or excuse me, Gellerman's going to draw his card. Draws a Daze, a huge draw there, actually.
Right. If Joe needs to chain a Fencer in here in the near future, which seems very likely, that Daze has the potential to be awesome. And Alex also has a Forcible in his hand, so the floor for the card is I can pitch it to Forcible, and the ceiling is very high.
Yeah, that was a big, big draw. Set going to play a Misty Rainforest. You see the Venser in his hand. He's got the swords, got the Red Blast. Going to pass the turn back. So, activation of that Stoneforge Mystic. In comes the sword. Going to untap, going to draw. You can tell the sentence is in some trouble right now.
Yes.
Ponder to start for Gellerman. Trigger. Top. No sir. Gellerman says, all right, I'm going to sacrifice this Arid Mesa. Looks like I'm going to try to equip here, if you don't mind.
I imagine that the sword is going to go onto the Stoneforge Mystic to try to diversify his assets a little bit here.
I'm with you on that one. I think that's what you got to do, and that's what's going to happen. So sword equip on the Stoneforge. And if you're Lossett, I think you do just swords that Stoneforge Mystic. You take your Lich from the Batterskull, because you can catch back up from that thing.
Yeah, I think, and when I watched Joe play this deck over the last couple of years, he is as patient as he can possibly be in terms of playing around Daze. I'd be very surprised to see him just try to jam Venser this turn, and he says no.
Yeah. So sword's going to be placed onto the stack here. You see the clock in the middle there right now. We're underneath 9 minutes, and that is an updated clock for you guys on this match. So Force of Will on that swords. I think it's going to be. I'd be surprised if he doesn't Reb here.
Yeah, I think you absolutely have to.
See him weighing his options.
You
can put the counterbalance trigger on.
Sure.
I don't know if he has force after sideboard. It's kind of this interesting situation where I don't know if he has force after sideboard. I don't know if he has fives, and does he want to give away the information on what's on top of his deck from counterbalance? And so he says, all right, I'm going to go get a red source of mana. I'm going to red elemental blast that. So get to Volcanic Island. Take care of that Force of Will. Get that thing out of here. And he knows that Gellerman right now is cardless.
Yes. And he lacks the mana now to be able to do any shenanigans with Batterskull.
Yep.
So this Venser is going to be devastating.
All right, so untap, take a draw step. Gellerman has no cards in his hand, so if you're going to Venser, I think you want to probably Venser on the main phase. There is a land in Scalding Tarn. There is a Sensei's Divining Top. And Lossett is going to sacrifice this Scalding Tarn right now. Going to push his life total down to 8. We'll see what land he wants to go get here. He can keep searching out basics, but it might be time for a Tundra. Looks like it is time for a Tundra. And he says, I'm going to Venser this Batterskull right now. Maybe just a token. Actually, yeah, I like that better.
Right, it's another extra turn for him to loop it through.
So Gellerman's going to draw a card. This was the thing to be scared of.
Oh, God.
It was. That was the thing to be scared of. Guys to stay trapped.
Oh, God.
Windmill Slam. Counterbalance trigger. How do we do? That's the Plains. Geist is in. So, Lossett, he knows the top card of his deck ain't so good. Is he going to spin top now, or is he going to wait?
That was a Incredible draw.
Best draw. Best draw.
It's not in there to not draw.
That's
you know
true.
What I'm saying?
That is true, my friend. So spin it. 2 and 3. Yuck.
Well, he actually found Caracas.
Yeah, Caracas is actually not bad.
I don't think he's going to have enough time to assemble all this because he has to deal with the actual Geist itself, not just the equipment.
Well, so the thing that he can do now is he can take the Caracas.
He can trade off.
Yeah, he can trade off. Yeah, so he can just Caracas, and then if he equips the sword to the Geist, then he just goes, all right, Caracas, bounce the sword. You know, and then, or you just like, assuming there's a sword equipped, you can bounce the sword and then trade with the Geist and take 4 and go down to 4.
Yes.
So he's definitely got some options here. Could even get a little frisky and get an attack for 2 in. You know what I'm saying? He can also, there's a lot of things he can do here too, because he can also just go like, when the Geist attacks, assuming that Gellerman doesn't draw a lightning bolt, and he's tapping his red mana, he can just go block your Geist, bounce my Venser, bounce your Angel, take nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So trigger, there's an Angel. See how Lossett wants to play this. Says, kind of look at the graveyard.
I mean, Lossett's in a really good place right now if he can just actually just get that Geist off the board.
Great spot. Unbelievable spot. Activate Caracas. And if the top deck card is the Swords, it doesn't matter because he's got top counterbalance.
Yep.
So he's actually kind of guarded against everything here. So Lightning Bolt didn't matter very much either. Yeah, so he's going to go, all right, bounce my guy. I guess if it's, oh God, if it's Daze. Daze would be a gross beating.
Yeah, I can't imagine Gellerman thinking this long.
Oh my Lord. Brainstorm. Yeah, okay, draw a card. Yeah.
Okay.
Top, counter it. Doesn't matter. Venser, bounce your sword. I'm going to take 4, kill your Geist. Yeah, push that forward. Get that thing out of here. Yeah. Angel, kindly leave. I'm at 4.
And Joe can breathe a sigh. He's, again, starting to settle in here.
Yeah, tough part is that the top of his deck isn't great. There's the Supreme Verdict. And there's a land going to pass the turn back. Gellerman draws a card. It's a Force of Will to go along with that sword. So he's going to cast the sword. Does that resolve? Spin the top. This is probably just a spin just to draw a land. Yeah, that's fine.
If he could counter it for free, I'm sure he would.
Yeah, I mean, he knew his top 3 cards.
Yeah.
So he put the Verdict on top, and now he just resets his top. And he's going to look again. You see him really picking up the pace now. There's a Jace.
And I think we might be trying to go ultimate with Jace this game.
Yeah.
Pretty quick and easy path to victory.
So Jace coming in. Thumbs up from Gellerman. Don't forget the top card of that deck is a 1 there for Lossett because top is on top. And there is your Jace. 3:46 on the clock.
He's going
up.
up.
5. Take a look ski. Spell Pierce. Yeah, you can keep that.
Yeah, you got a Spell Pierce.
Going to hold on to that fetch land. He's going to play it. He's going to play it. Okay. So Gellerman's going to untap, draws a Spell Pierce to go on with the Force of Will. So he actually does have another blue card to go with that. But that's not going to solve the Jace problem here. So Lossett's going to draw Sensei's Divining Top. He's going to cast it. I think we're going to fight over it. Yep. So there is Force of Will. Lossett looks a little stunned. How dare you? Top card. So you got to sacrifice the fetch land first.
Well, he still may want to keep a Supreme Verdict up there because it.
Because of Geist.
Yeah, just covers him against some of Gellerman's better draws.
Because of that, I don't think he wants to go to 3. So top card, keep that, pass. Jace up to 7, working its way up to its ultimate. There's a Volcanic, pass the turn back.
Ooh, risky business.
Yeah,
risky business.
I wouldn't want to go down to 3.
Seems like risky business to me. Especially with the Supreme Verdict floating on top. You have a lot of Alex's. Okay. Gutsy.
All right, so it looks like he's going to get Volcanic Island. So he's got all his red sources now. It is risky because it could very easily go, Fate Seal, a Lightning Bolt to the bottom, you peel Lightning Bolt, I die. That's what can happen now.
Or there's a Geist or.
Take a look. It's a Scalding Tarn. That's good enough. Mystic Gate, I think, was the draw for Joe. Pick up the Batter Skull is what Gellerman will do. 2 minutes about to be on the clock here. There is a Scalding Tarn. The 5th land for the batter's skull to come back. Tundra. Now he's got to deal with this problem. The funny thing here, too, is that there's a lot of draws in the set stack that just end the game immediately for him.
Yes.
You know, Entreat the Angels. Terminus is actually pretty good now. Venser, Vendilion to control the draw step. There are a lot of good draws here. Batter Skull is back, however. Losette's going to draw a card to Pyroblast. I think he probably has to go bounce.
Yeah,
right?
he has to unsummon here.
There's
a
Mysticate and pass.
The guard's down again.
He does a Flusterstorm maybe, pass the turn back, draw a card. Island. All right, now he's going to Brainstorm. Now he's just using all modes with Chase. You see a Flusterstorm, a Brainstorm, and a mystery card. Might be in Vendilion again.
Vendilion would be excellent here.
Yep. Vendilion, Caracas, and a real clock. 1 minute. Slide those permanents over. Pass the turn back. Batter Skull back to the grip. That's Vendilion. Yeah, get that thing out of here. Yeah. Batter Skull on bottom. Mystery card coming. Red Blast to go along with a Flusterstorm. Draw step about to take place.
Red Blast gets him out of this Jace too.
Yep. Target Jace. I think we know the top card. Yeah, I think Red Blast or Pyroblast on Joe's side. Yeah, so get that out of here. Lossett gonna untap. 14 seconds left. Attack for 3. Put Gellerman down to 19. It's not gonna be able to be damage. It's gonna have to be Jace.
It's a race between Jace and damage.
Yeah. Top card's fine. If you're Lossett, you gotta find Entreat, I think, to close it. And that's the clock. So it looks like Gellerman's gonna be turn 0. And I think that's a Delver Secrets.
Yeah.
So Lossett is going to Brainstorm here, I think. That's what he's going to do. 2, 3 cards. There's a Venser. So a couple of cards are going to go back on top here.
Shows the same Pyro.
Yep. Venser, do you want to join the fray? 2, 3, and 4. So there's Venser. We'll get confirmation on terms here because Joe should be 1, 3, and 5. Now, I don't know if the damage is going to be enough. I still think he needs to find and Entreat the Angels. I still think he needs to.
Yeah.
Okay, so Joe is turn 0. Draw a card. Set Blast. In for 5.
Joe trying to find something to close this game out any faster. If our interpretation of the time is correct, it's going to be a little bit short.
Pass. There's a Brainstorm for Gellerman. Lossett's going to untap. We'll draw. Flusterstorm the draw step. In for 5. Jace Ultimate. Okay. So those 3 cards. That's your deck. There's a Misty. Gellerman draws a card, and I got a feel. No, okay, so Joe's going to be turn 5. Draws swords, attack. And assuming our clock and turns are right. Yeah.
Yep.
We're going to see the shrug off. And so we'll see what ends up happening with the result here. It looks like it's probably going to end up being a draw here. That's going to end up 1 turn short of getting the job done. Yeah, so it is going to be a draw between these 2 players. They're both going to move on to 3-1-1, and that's what happens when you play Blight Miracle sometimes.
Yeah, that is a risk we play in the deck, certainly.
Yeah.
And